The map says nothing is here, but satellites keep glitching over this place. Compasses spin like they're afraid, and every drone sent above the sand vanishes mid-signal. So listen carefully because what you're about to hear was never meant to be remembered, let alone told. And once you step into this story, there is no turning back. Because somewhere beneath a silent desert lies a city with no graves, and the question that will not let humanity sleep anymore is simple and terrifying. Where did the people go? The first clue appeared not in some ancient manuscript, but in a modern seismic anomaly detected by a research station that should not have been active anymore. A low-frequency echo repeating every 47 seconds as if the ground itself was breathing. And when analysts overlaid the signal with forgotten Cold War scans, they realized the echo matched the outline of a massive underground structure, stretching miles beyond what any ancient civilization should have been capable of building. And yet there it was, a city-shaped absence beneath the earth, perfectly symmetrical, deliberately hidden, and completely empty. And that emptiness was the most disturbing part, because civilizations leave bones, ashes, weapons, scars. But this place left nothing, no graves, no remains, no sign of death, as if every living being simply stood up at the same moment and walked out of reality itself. Archaeologists were flown in under non-disclosure agreements so strict that even their families were told they were dead, and the first team entered through a collapsed ventilation shaft that should not have existed. Because the shaft was engineered with alloys not officially discovered until the late 20th century, alloys fused with crystalline patterns that reacted to human presence by warming slightly, like skin. And as headlamps cut through the darkness, they found streets carved with precision smoother than modern machine work, walls etched with symbols that did not repeat like language, but spiraled like equations, and doorways scaled for beings far taller than modern humans, some reaching heights that forced even the bravest researchers to whisper a word no academic wanted to say out loud: giants. And then came the technology, stone panels that slid open silently when touched, energy conduits embedded in walls that still hummed faintly after thousands of years, and devices shaped like thrones positioned at the city's center. Each throne surrounded by concentric rings burned into the floor as if something immensely powerful had once sat there and bent physics around itself. And it was here that the team realized this was not a city abandoned in panic or destroyed by war. It was a city evacuated with intention, precision, and terrifying calm. The symbols on the walls began to make sense when an AI linguistics model was secretly applied to them, revealing not words but warnings, repeating one core concept in dozens of mathematical variations: alignment, convergence, departure. And as the researchers worked, funding mysteriously doubled overnight. Military personnel replaced civilian guards, and orders came down to document faster and ask fewer questions. But curiosity is a disease, and it spreads, and one researcher noticed something impossible: time distortion near the thrones, clocks desynchronizing by milliseconds, then seconds, then entire minutes, as if the city existed half a step out of phase with our reality. If you're still listening, if you haven't clicked away, you're exactly where you need to be. And if this story grips you, share it quietly. Keep listening till the end, because what was found next explains why history was rewritten and why some truths are buried deeper than cities. Beneath the central plaza, a chamber was uncovered, sealed not by force but by agreement, its entrance marked by a symbol identical to one found on ancient megalithic sites across the world, from the Andes to the Giza Plateau to submerged ruins near Japan. A symbol mainstream history calls decorative, but which here pulsed faintly when approached, and inside the chamber stood a massive ring-like structure, part stone, part metal, part something unnamed, covered in star maps that did not match our sky but predicted it, showing constellations shifting over millennia, showing Earth as a waypoint, not a home. And carved into the base in unmistakable proportion were figures of towering beings standing beside humans, not as gods, not as kings, but as engineers, teachers. And when the AI finished translating the final sequence, the room went silent because the message was clear: we were never meant to inherit the world alone. The lost civilization was not lost by catastrophe, but by choice. A choice triggered by an event the carvings called the convergence, a moment when multiple realities overlap, when advanced beings must either ascend, relocate, or be erased by forces even they could not control, and Earth, according to the chamber, was a temporary harbor during a cycle that repeats every several thousand years. A cycle we are now approaching again. Panic set in among the leadership overseeing the dig, communications were scrambled, and within days the official story leaked as a hoax even as new satellite blackouts spread across the region. But the city did not like secrecy, and the more it was hidden the more it revealed itself, triggering earthquakes that spelled coordinates in seismic data, coordinates pointing to other hidden sites, other empty cities, all with the same design, the same thrones, the same absence of graves, forming a global network that suggested not a single civilization, but a planetary system of guardians who once lived openly among us. Remembered later as gods, giants, angels, demons, depending on who was telling the story. One researcher disappeared after claiming the city was still occupied, not physically but temporally, existing in a loop slightly ahead of us, and that the people did not die but stepped sideways, leaving their infrastructure behind like a shed skin. And when his personal recordings were recovered, his final words chilled everyone who heard them because he said the city was not empty, it was waiting. As modern instruments pushed deeper, they triggered an automated response, ancient technology awakening, lights flowing through the walls like liquid stars, the thrones resonating, and a projection forming in the air, not a hologram, but a layered echo of multiple voices speaking as one, explaining that humanity was approaching a threshold, that our technology was beginning to mirror theirs, that our wars, our satellites, our experiments with space-time were destabilizing the cycle, and that, once again, a choice would be required. But this time we would not be the students, we would be the test. Funding was cut the next day, the site was sealed, and every member of the team received visits warning them never to speak. But stories do not die, they migrate, and fragments leaked into fringe forums, then documentaries, then into fiction, until the line between myth and memory blurred, and people around the world began dreaming of the same city, the same streets, the same feeling of being watched by something ancient and patient. Governments deny everything, yet new laws quietly restrict deep Earth excavation. New space telescopes are aimed not outward but inward, and military simulations now include scenarios labeled non-terrestrial ancient entities. And if you wonder why the world feels like it's accelerating towards something undefined, why history itself feels unstable, it may be because the people of the city with no graves are not gone. They are simply elsewhere, observing, calculating, waiting for the moment. Alignment returns. And when it does, the question will no longer be, where did the people go? But where will we go when the cycle completes again? And if this story echoes in your mind, if you feel that pull toward forgotten truths and hidden histories, then stay with Echoes of Time. Subscribe before the silence returns, because some doors once opened can never be closed, and the city beneath the sand is listening.